Okay, we continue our series about instructive endgames. Today we're going to look at the Philadelphia position, a very important position in rook endgames. Some of these things are pretty difficult, but if you look well, you can always put on the pause button to look at it and you can replay it. Okay, let's start. Let's look at the position. White to move. White has an extra pawn. The king is cut off on the back rank, but it's in front of the pawn. So let's see how white continues and how black can draw this difficult position. Okay, king f6, exclamation mark. If king e6, threatening mate, black draws with rook a6 check. King has to go. Rook b6, a waiting move. e6, and now very important, rook b1, exclamation mark, because now the king cannot hide in front of the pawn, and it's a draw. For example, if king f6, rook f1 check, king e5, rook e1 check, king d6, rook d1 check, check, and if you go too far, you simply attack the pawn, and it's lost. You cannot make progress. Okay, king f6, interesting, good move. If rook a6, that's a bad move, then e6, threatening mate. For example, king f8, or is rook h8 mate, so king d8, check, king c7, king f7, and white reaches Lucena. Now let's see how he does it. King goes, rook goes, king e8, excuse me, oops, e7, rook f1, king d6, rook, king f5, check, king g4, check, and the pawn promotes, and white wins easily. So rook a6 is wrong because a6 and white simply promotes the pawn. Okay, we go back, king f6, rook e1, best, exclamation mark. If e6, then again you start checking with rook f1, like we saw before already. So king e6, then threatening mate, and now there's only one move to draw, king f8, exclamation mark. And now check, king goes, and now rook e8 to help the pawn advance. And now very important defensive resource. By the way, if rook a8, so you simply play rook e2, king d6, king f7. You cannot promote the pawn because e6 you simply take, and if you play check, you can simply go back to e8. And if king e6, then you can give checks again. And if king e6, then you go king f8. Short side defense, and the rook will go to the long side. Let's see how it goes. King f6, king e6, king f8, check, check, king g7. There we are. Rook e8 to advance the pawn, and now rook a1, exclamation mark, and draws. For example, rook b8, rook a6, king f5, and king f7, and it's a draw. Because if e6, you simply take, and you can put rook in front, or if rook e7, king e8, if e6, you go back and you start checking the king again, and it's a draw. So after king f7, it's a draw. Okay, rook a1, the long side, rook, king d7, then rook a7 check, king e8, and then king g6, and the king is cut off, the white king, and it's a draw. So what can we learn in this position? For the defensive side, after king e6, you play check, you wait, if the pawn advances you go back, and you start giving checks, and it's a draw. For the white, if to try to win, use the pawn, but then rook e1, not rook a6 because of king's kicked out, and the pawn promotes, 1, good waiting move. King e6, now king f8 to the short side, to the long side. It's a draw, or rook b7, it's king f7, rook b7 check. You go, if e6, and you go back, and you start giving checks again, and it's a draw. Okay, this is important technique. Look at it many times, because it can save a lot of points, because this is a kind of position that can happen pretty often in your games. Any comments please on YouTube. Thank you very much.